The problem with Hoskinson is he is as corrupt as anyone else who gains power. Well, this is why I advocate for systems that don't require human beings to run them, or when humans are curating it, that there are checks and balances. Because you're 100% correct when you say that power corrupts people. There are no exceptions. When you get rich and powerful, you start changing. And you can have all kinds of things like religions and mirrors and blah, 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 and to try to protect yourself from that. And some people, they change just a little bit. A lot of people did change a lot, but it's unavoidable. It's a human thing. It's built into our genetic code that we start forming hierarchies. And the people at the top of the hierarchy, they get away with things that normal people can't. A great example of that would be about 6 months ago, I was driving my Huracan. It's a Lamborghini. And I was going a little too fast, a little bit over the speed limit. And I was on this one road, and I crossed the corner, and there's this police officer with a radar gun, and he's looking for speeders, and he sees me speeding. And he does this. He says, "Slow down." I said, "Oh, what a nice cop. He let me get away with that one. Okay, all right." Then the guy behind me was keeping up with me. He was going about the same speed, and he was driving like an old beat up, I think it was a Toyota Corolla or Camry. I can't remember what it is. Some young white kid in an old car, beaten up car. And the cop tags him, gets on his motorcycle, and pulls over the Toyota, not the Lamborghini. I guarantee you that kid was pissed, absolutely pissed. He's like, "Dude, the Lambo in front of me was going just as much as me. Why didn't you pull that rich asshole over?" Right? And this is a society that human beings build and they live in. There's all these weird power dynamics and structures. The cop knew that if he pulled over me, because I have money and power, that if I chose to fight that ticket or whatever, maybe it'd make his life a hell of a lot more difficult. He knew that if he pulled over the kid who's probably driving to work, probably working at Applebee's or something, who doesn't have a lot of money in the old beaten up car, that kid's just going to pay the ticket, and it's easy for them. So it's the path of least resistance. That's not fair. It's really not fair. And the problem is that happens every single day. And that's one little example of it, but there's hundreds. And the cumulative psychological impact of those hundreds of events that occur is that people who are higher up on the food chain start believing that they're there for divine providence. They're there because they're special, not because of a set of circumstances that occurred. And therefore, they're better than the people around them. And as they're better, they deserve the things around them. And it dehumanizes people to a great degree. Now, you can do all kinds of things to try to remind yourself that that's not true. Farming certainly helps because the animal shits on you, regardless if you're a billionaire versus you're poor. They treat you exactly the same way. Horse will kick you regardless of who you are. So there's all kinds of things to humble you and bring you down. But the problem is that the higher in the food chain you get, no matter what you do, eventually you start forgetting that. So this is why the systems we build are so important, because those systems liberate humanity from the same things that happen over and over again. They provide checks and balances, they provide social mirrors, and they provide rules that are exactly the same regardless of who you are or where you come from. Just that simple. We need that in a global age. And that's definitely true. Tough pill swallows the truth sometimes.